Tēnā koutou rā e whakarongo mai nei ki tēnei o ngā hōtaka o Koniahi Kōrero, ki runga i tō tātou nei taonga o te maunga nei, te korimako o Taranaki. O tira ki koutou e mātakitaki mai nei i tēnei o ngā pāpā o Mataora. Ko Te Aorangi Dillon tēnei e me i ka atu ki koutou katoa, anā, mena kei te tiro mai i tēnei wā, kei te kite koutou, ko wai kei taku taa, anā, ko hiaha te kupu, taku compadre, me ki, ki runga i tō tātou nei hōtaka o te kai o te ata, ko wai tēnei e noho ki taku taha, ko wai atu, ko Tamzyn-Rose pue e te whānau, aina, ho mai te paki. And Narita, it's not that she needs an introduction, but I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself to you all. And I know she's sitting there like, oh my gosh, Te Aorangi, really? Are you going to make me do this? Kei te tiko o whakaaro i tēnei wā e Tams. Kei te tuku te rākau ki a koe. Mau e wakamoho atu ki te katoa ko wai koe aua āhuatanga katoa. Nā reira, kei a koe te wā.
Oh, tuatahi ake mihi nei ki a koe kei te tuakana Te Aorangi. Man, you are so cute. Can I just say, what an introduction. You just make me a bit nervous. Oh my goodness. I feel pretty honoured and privileged to be on your Koniahi Kōrero show, because I know how special this is to you and to our people and what it stands for. So it is truly a privilege to come on to Kōrero with you, particularly in your beautiful show, Koniahi Kōrero. So e meki ana ki a koe kei te tuakana. Hua tanora he uri au no te maunga, no Taranaki. I tupu au i raru ngā rekereke o tō tāua, i o te ano tō tātou tau e ke maunga koro Taranaki. Ko te iwi kua titia ki te watu manoa, ko Ngāti Maru. Hua anō, ka wai pāranga hoki au ki ngā ruahine, ki Ngāti Ruanui, ki Ngāti Matunga, te atia wā no hoki. Ki Taranaki iwi, engari i tupu au, ki te marae o te upoko o te wenua, ki te taha o kupāke o Ngāti Maru Waranui. Koera te take e pērā ana kōrero, ne koe ko te iwi kua titia ki te watu manawa. I tupu au ki te wenua taurikura o Tarata, ki uta rawa o Taranaki nei, me te ātāhua hoki o taku tupuranga i rau ngā wākahoki o ku mahara ki a rātou, o ku mātua, o ku pāke anō hoki, nā rātou a hau i poipoi, waka tina oki, i roto i te reo o ngā mātua, i roto hoki ngā tikanga o Ngāti Maru Waranui. Nō reira maringa nui nōku te no o tai me o ku kai mātua, me o ku pāke, ngā tau eke, tētihi atu o ngā mea motuhake ki au. Kua tētihi o ngā akonga o ngā tauira me ke o koro te huirangi, o kere opai mā. Te kauhoi wano, matua roikere, rātau katoa hau i Manaki, i Oangai hoki, ki te reo o ngā mātua, ki te reo o Taranaki, koe hineara parata, koe tete o ku tino pauako, rāwatai ko te pare, tarata mahine a te pare. Me e tehi atu, i roto i ngā tau, ko Papa Rukutai anō tētehi, rāwatai ko Papa Mike Neho. Engari rātou katoa hau i poipoi tātura ki te wā i noho tōku matua keke a Uncle Timeringa, ki roto i a mātou o Ngāti Maru. Nō rei hunuku mai Uncle Timeringa ki tōku marae ki te upoko te wenua. Noho tahi a Uncle Timeringa me tōku pāpā. Rātou ko Uncle Tainui toko tāua, ki te marae o Tarata, ki te hanga te i ngā ware. Rātou ko itihi atu o ngā wanaunga, o Ngāti Māori Waranui, rātou katoa I naine kua mati. I tērā wiki I mate tete I oku tino kuia, tino pau kuia o Ngāti Māori Waranui, ko Hazel Pare Te Uira Piri, tōna ingoa. E tino kuia tērā o Ngāti Māori Waranui, maru o Taranaki nei, maru o Te Awa Tupo o Wanganui, o Ngāti Tū, o Ngāti Haua no hoki. Engari tērā kuia, te mea wakamutunga. So I know that the Koniahi Kōrero beautiful show was inspired. I remember you talking to me about it, Te Aorangi, and you were inspired by Sir Timothy Karetu and his kōrero around the generation who were the last of the shiny dirt floors. And when you asked me, to share who I am and who I can't help but talk about who I belong to and why, and the effect and the impact that they've had on my life, pretty much. That gives me sort of, permission, really, to speak. And so last week we farewelled the last of the Mohicans, of the Maru Mohicans, the matriarch of Ngāti Māori Waranui. And she was the eldest kuia of our tribe. Earlier in the year, the eldest kuia, the eldest actual of all of the elders of Ngāti Māori Waranui passed away. Her name was Queen Oni, and she's from Ngāti Māori and also Ngāti Haua. And her uhunga was in Ngāti Haua country. And then just recently, last week, we farewelled our kuia, who was a very close relation, Auntie Hazel Pare Te Uira Piri. And she grew up in a beautiful place called Tawata at Te Awa Tupo o Wanganui. But one of her amazing wakapapa lines, she's a direct descendant of Te Kere Ngātai Rua, who was one of the chiefs of Ngāti Māori. And so her uhunga was at Tarata, and rightfully so, because she was a huge part of the rebuilding of our marae, but also te aorangi of our people, of the Ngāti Māori people. So she was linked to the Awa Tupo o Wanganui, but also of Purangi and of Tarata. So very much maru to the core. And so the interesting thing about it, though, was that our marae was actually closed last week. It was actually closed. We hadn't had anything happening at our marae. Well, there was lots happening in terms of the PGF and the rebuild. But since Ngā Purupura was there last year, in February, was the last time we had wānanga or, people at the pā in a sort of a gathering until last week. And we were going home for a working bee, which was last Saturday. And then Saturday night, I received the message. No, that's wrong. Saturday, we went home for the working bee. Friday night, prior to the working bee, we'd received the message about the passing of our auntie. And I actually thought they might take her home back to the river. Tarata or Tawata, either or. She was from both. Hearty, like true maru and Ngāti Tū, Ngāti Haua. Anyway, I thought, surely ACELS, the marae's place, they'll take you to Tawata. But her sons reached out and said, we want to bring Mum home. And as you are fully aware, sis, in our tikanga, we tono anyway. So we were thinking about that anyway, but it's just that the pā was shut. So we had a working bee, then actually prepared it to open it on Sunday morning. So we had the working bee Saturday. Sunday morning we had a dawn ceremony at the pā, just like that. And that was at 5:30 a.m. And 11 we're welcoming our auntie and the whānau home back to Tarata. So then we had the uhunga. Oh my goodness, and this kōrero has just come from you asking me to introduce myself.
Carry on.
Well, that's my introduction. And I'm Ngāti Maru. And the reason why is because of her, but mostly my parents. that, something that's really quite interesting about my parents is they were both Māori. So they were related. I didn't know that until like later in life that, well, you got your cousins, like, but I get it, like I totally. So it's really neat because both my mum and dad, mum, she was from Wanganui as well, and Ngāti Mutunga. I talk a lot about my father, he's Māori and Ronui, and Te Aotearoa, like Tūturu, and Te Aotearoa ki te Tauihu as well. And I talk a lot about that because of our links to our father's whakapapa. But actually my mother, she's got quite an interesting whakapapa. She was a Maxwell, my mother. And so she's gone to Wakatohia, Ngaitai ki Tōrere, Ngaitai ki Umupuia up in Auckland, and and then Mutunga and Maru. I was like, wow, Mum, that's pretty handy. But she hardly ever talked about that because, well, her side, because we followed Dad. And Dad was just Maru hard and Ronui. He would go home often to Ronui, our father. His mother was a Walden. And yeah. So his mother was Ada Walden, and she was Uncle Buster's dad's sister.
Yes.
So my dad and Uncle Buster were first cousins. And people always like, how are you related? Like, like probably your cousin, cuz. And then, we just become cousins. But anyway, sorry, that was a big her of an introduction. Sorry, Te Aorangi, tēnā koe.
That was awesome.
That was too much. I'm so
So Tamzyn and I, we had like a 2-hour catch-up before this, actually, and we were like, okay, we're going to talk, we should really hone in on what we're going to talk about, because with her and I, it could go a million different directions, and as soon as she started to talk about the old people, I was like, oh, maybe we're going to talk about Te Reo Māori classes. and then you went to the next thing, and then I was like, oh, maybe we're going to talk about such and such, I mean, that's exactly what Koniahi Kōrero is about, though, because we are fluid, and you really go with what comes, just like you did right then. You took us there, man. I loved it. I thought you were going to go on for a little bit longer, actually, and give us some more of that tupuna kōrero, but kei te pai, it's going to come out in a different way right now. Te iwi. So we did talk about what we were going to talk about tonight. That's going to be playing in the morning. Now, Tamzyn and I are both on the study journey, e te whānau. And if you've been listening in since we started on the breakfast show together, you would have heard us talk about our study journey on countless occasions. In fact, this morning I talked about it again. And if you've been following Tamzyn on her Facebook story, you would have seen the last month in particular, things have got intense. Things have amped up. And we're going to talk about that tonight, actually, te whānau, because the outcomes of the amped upness we are going to talk about. And you might be thinking, well, what is that? So there's a couple of projects that Tams has to complete throughout this journey, the master's journey. And one of them has really, I've been interested in right from the beginning. And because at the moment I'm sitting on a governance board, and Tams has been in governance since she was like, am I over exaggerating if I say 16?
Slightly. Just a little bit less than that, I think.
What, like 18?
Oh.
How long have you been?
A wee while.
She's getting all coy and shy, te whānau. Can you believe it? So anyway, she's been in the governance game for a long time. Currently studying and doing her Masters of Māori Indigenous Leadership. And out of that comes a couple of projects, and one of them is like a memoir of her journey through governance. That's my interpretation of what the project is, but Tamzyn's actually going to talk to us about her little bit of, this study journey that started off maybe as just, okay, cool, I'm going into this program, but it's actually become a lot more than that, right, Tam? So take us there. Take us on the journey.
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure really where I might take us. Even just trying to introduce myself is hard. Because I can't leave people out. And then, I have these thoughts. I did want to say, though, before I talk about that, was about Uncle Te Miringa, because he was hugely impacted on me and my life and my worldview. And so a lot of how I am and how I feel and how I think stems from a lot of the wisdom and the views, and I suppose the kōrero and the discussion that Uncle Te Miringa invoked. He was an incredible leader, and he was so humble and so powerful and strong, and in his actions, he truly showed us about humility and about leadership. And so it sort of is a segue into this leadership program, and the reason why I decided to embark on this journey. Firstly, I wanted to do it a couple of years ago, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to commit 100%. The irony is that I feel like I haven't committed 100% this year either. But there is this amazing thing that happens. It's a transformation, I guess. It really is. It is a of a journey, being on the masters of Māori and Indigenous leadership, because you really have to ruku. And I didn't realize that was the case when I read the course outline, and when I listened intently to Papa Che Wilson speak about the course content, which always inspired me. I wanted to do it a while ago because of him, and because of Matua Bentham Ohi as well, and Sasha McMaking, and all of the amazing lecturers who are a part of this beautiful kaupapa, the MMIL program. And it truly is life. It is enhancing. It is definitely mana enhancing. So because of like my upbringing, I guess I sort of really felt sort of this really, deep connection with like you, Te Aorangi, with our old people, and because we're Pākits, you and I and Ngāhina, cousin Ngāhina Hohaya, and I have always talked about the Pākits, because that's what we were raised as, Pākits, literally and authentically and genuinely on the pā and in the taiao, so either in the bush or at the moana, where her and her siblings and her mum and dad and her wānau, resided. And then, so a lot of our worldviews and a lot of our thinking, our Māori perspectives, aronga Māori, comes from, and we all know it is, we're normalising that we are one with the taiao, etc. But it really does affect our thinking and our views. So this Māori leadership and Indigenous leadership program has really taught me a lot about, delving and actually really looking, because I thought I already had, a firm understanding about Māori leadership. And it's not because I'm wakaii at all. I just thought I did. And I've discovered the hard way that I really didn't know a quarter of what I thought I did. That doesn't make sense, but put it this way, my sister, I've learned some very tough lessons over the last 3 months, particularly. The first half of the course was manageable. I felt okay, and I was keeping up with the readings, which I love. And I love reading. When I get the chance to truly read, I can't stop. If I pick a book up and it's this big, I'm going to read it. I can't stop for days. I'll have sleep, then wake up and read again. But because of our mahi, we can't do that anymore. Anyway, the readings I enjoyed, and I did okay in the first half of the course. And then things just, to me, seemed more important. So, in life, we all have to make sacrifices, etc. I know it's hugely cliched, but, we all go through this in life. We have to make a sacrifice. And everyone kept telling me something's got to give. You're going to burn out. You're doing too much. And, just focus on this and that. But you make a choice in yourself for what you truly believe is important to you and where you feel like you need to be. And so, Te Korimako started this kaupapa this year, Te Reo Te Uru. And I'd already committed to the MMIL program last year. I enrolled in December or maybe even November. So I was already enrolled. The project for Te Reo Te Uru for Te Korimako started, I think, in March, February, March, Te Rātaki wā tonu. And so, I thought, oh, yeah, I can do both. Like, I'll balance, all good. Surely, I can balance things out. But because it was brand new, and sis, it was a new kaupapa, and it was telling authentic taranaki stories and, and sharing things from home. Oh, my gosh. It became more than just a passion project. It fully 100% consumed my life from February to right now. And for another 4 weeks. It will continue to do that. But in the most beautiful way. There are no regrets. I have loved every part of this project and this kaupapa because it's an opportunity to see what our wānau are doing in Rangitane, Horowhenua, with Te Mihimi covering that region, and then Eruera with Te Awa Tupua Wangaroi and Aros here in Taranaki, which is beautiful. However, then we had Te Kahui Maunga, Haka, and I still can't leave my marae and my koanga. They are forever, no matter what. They are a part of me. Every fibre of my being is my marae, my kohanga. They mean so much more to me than words could describe. So I'm one with those kaupapa. It's just a me thing. And many of you will feel this way, I'm sure, with certain kaupapa and aspects of your lives. So if they need me, I'm going to jump. I'm already there, like spoon. Koanga sales, Tam got hui, Tam when he does, yep, yes, whānau. Kura tamariki mā, I'm in, no matter what. And same with the pā. So I got this baby sister, and she's always like, pā, hui, do this, do that. Boom, yes, hell yes, definitely, that's us. So MMIL seems like so, that's shrinking, the importance of it. You know what I mean? In terms of everything. So that wickedly suffered. And my attendance reflected that. And my grades, the recent ones, 2 grades that I mean, it has blemished my academic transcript somewhat, wickedly. But I had an opportunity to resubmit actually one of my papers just last week. So yeah, it was a bit of a grind because we had to do a couple of assignments, a comparative analysis and a business case, which I was wickedly overdue for me. And so I just went on the grind with some of our cohort for I think 4 days, maybe 5, just consistently grinding to get it done. And then it was just a matter of, it's 5 to midnight. It needs to be in on a Sunday night. And I just pushed send. And it was probably my worst ever effort in my life for one assignment. And anyway, I got an opportunity to resubmit. And so last weekend, my amazing crew, so you've got a big cohort. And then within the cohort, I've got this amazing rōpū, this ohu, who we did a group project together recently, and we did a group essay and a group video that we had to pull together, which describes mana motuake, which I thought I had I thought I knew about mana motuake, like fully. It's not being waka'i, I just thought, mana motuake, that's me. No, so that's
Yeah.
you, that's us, that's we. Like WA says, that's we. A title. I thought, well, we mana motuake.
We got
However, when I looked
this.
at it, yeah, the whole we got this, but no, did not. Yeah, we did in the group one because there was many of us, but when it came down to my own analysis, I was like, oh, do you know what one of the most valuable lessons I have learned about this course is, my sis? Is that humility. Humility is absolutely necessary. You have to truly humble yourself to actually understand that actually you don't know jack. Like what you think you know, you actually don't. You don't know as much as you think you do. And and I'm all about, karihe mutunga tō tēnei mea te ako. Like I fully get it, right? Lifelong learners, etc. But man, did I had a really amazing rude awakening, sis, that I'm grateful for. To the point of, whoa, I had to learn some lessons, my sister, very hard way.
And
I just need to sort one situation, and maybe you could keep talking for a second while I sort something, and then I will continue.
Okay, so reflecting on that, actually, that kōrero that you just gave then, I spoke with Ria, I interviewed Ria Julian just the other day, and we spoke too about the same sort of situation. You do your first year in your degree for what we did in regards to social sciences, social work, toi ora whānau wellness, and you go in there as an adult student. Essentially, everyone else was way younger than me, and on her cohort, they were even younger than her. And you're like, oh no, I've got life. I'm all good. For me, it was like, I've had 2 kids. I'm like, I'm doing my degree later in age, older in age, but that's okay. I'm still here. And, my real Māori, I want to work on that, but, it's okay. I'm all good, and that same sort of thing, like in class, who knows what kaitiakitanga is? And I'm like, oh, yeah, hello. Of course I know, but actually, by the end of the first noho in that year, it was like, I don't know, jack, actually. And then you finish your degree, right? And then you go into postgrad study, and it's the same thing. Like, okay, well, now I've been working in the field for some time. Like, I think I have some idea of what I'm talking about. But you know what? It's just the exact same thing happened to me on Saturday. Worst presentation that I could have ever given. Like, it was the worst I've ever done in my whole entire life, with no real, I should have been prepared, but I was not prepared, and I thought I was going to wing it. We're talking postgraduate level study here, Te Aorangi, it's actually another level to what I was used to. So I totally get it. I get it. And I had to eat humble pie that day. And I was just like, I cannot believe that. That was a letdown to me for being so ill prepared and taking it for granted. I think, not giving things the time that it really needs. And, those days of writing 3,000 words in one night, they gone. You need to do that 3 times over. You know what I mean? So I get it. I get where you're coming from. I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
I hear that.
I really do, because I know that you're on the grind. You are going through the same exact stuff. And what it also comes down to, Nessus, is that people don't know, it doesn't matter when you're in that moment of either presenting or submitting. It doesn't matter how many hui you attended or how many kaupapa that you 100% committed to and did when no one was watching, and all of the integrity stuff that you have, like all cool, like, you know, the tupuna know it, and that's probably all that, and that's all cool. Like, that's beautiful too. Don't get me wrong. Love that, love that, love that for us. But when you push submit and you know in your heart of hearts, oh, that was a piss poor effort, man. I was like, oh no. And when you do it like that, I felt so deflated. I was like, and honestly, sis, in that moment, this was a couple of weeks ago at, I think it was 11:57 p.m. on Sunday night. I had to push enter. So I had to push enter on 2 assignments. One I did at 11:30. I pushed send. Then I had 30 minutes to get the last one done. Like, I'd already done both, you know, sort of. But oh my God, I had like probably 10,000 words of notes and 100 tabs up on 2 devices. And so I had it all there, but I didn't have an opportunity to pull it together and ata wete wete and then select and then just, you know, just, I couldn't pull it together. I needed at least another 2 days because I'd spent, you know, I think 7 days reading, five days minimum, and maybe 7 read. You know, you've got to do all the literature, you've got to do all that, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, beautiful. If that's all we did, like if that's all we had to do, oh yay! But it's not. You know, we had. It's just a constant grind, plus trying to do the kaupapa, you know, and like straight up working for Te Korimako o Taranaki is not a 9 to 5 or a 7 to 12 or whatever hours. It's not about hours of a clock. You are Te Korimako. If you're going to work there, well, if you're going to work there in your tūturu wakamaua, like, you know, it's just, like some of us, no, no, sorry, whānau, but you know what I mean. If you are hungry to the kaupapa and you really like the koanga movement, if you're pono ki te kaupapa, then you know you're not on any clock. You're going to be working some crazy hours, like the Manu Kōrero build-up, which just happened. So we had Ngā Manu Kōrero as well amongst that, the national broadcast, which was new. It was very new because it moved to online platform. We had some videos from some of the 60 speakers, some we didn't, and so the decision was made by the national committee that we could only play, have a photograph and have the audio playing over that. So in order to do that, you have to extract the audio, make sure it's of a high level, and we had our Ms. Leah from Te Korimako, and like no one would even know this, but now you will. Hello everybody. Her name is Ms. Leah. She is the drive time host at Te Korimako o Taranaki, and you wouldn't have seen her on the live stream, but she went on the grind before the event to pull and extract that audio from all of the speeches, and some of the speeches were actually recorded on mum and dad's phones, and you know, Cuzzy's phones, because cameras weren't working at maybe I'm not sure, at regional events. We didn't attend them all, did we, so we don't know. But all we know is that we needed the audio. So however we got that, people don't know that stuff. So that was a her of a grind. Then we had our boss Tipene and Ms. Leah doing that. I must say, our boss Tipene, when he commits to something, there is nothing that he won't do to ensure that the kaupapa and the end result is going to be better than anyone. Like he just is that, not better than anyone, but he will do it to his 100% capacity to ensure that a kaupapa will be fulfilled to the highest possible level. And he has shown us that he can do crazy things like make a broadcast happen in the middle of a paddock down by the Waitara Scout Club when he broadcasted I Am Māori, just Waitara pools, Hawara pools. Anyway, if there is a will, then Tipene O'Brien is going to make it happen, and he does. And when if you see him, like, you know, and he has an idea and he goes, Tams, you know what I was thinking? I'm like, you know, oh, here we go, like, because I know that there is a her of a list of work and mahi that's coming with that. And then you can't help but feel that passion and that drive and that responsibility. It really is. It is a responsibility to jump on that waka, well, stay on the waka with them, because you're already in the waka, and just hold your hoi real tight and just hoi. Whichever way he's going, you just got to keep going with him. Even if you're thinking, hey, I just need to go Kyoto for a bit and have a bit of a rest. No, if he's rowing, you just, and he'll even let you put your hoi down and he'll row for you. So it's like he's taking you whether you want to or not. So if you're on that waka, you're on that waka. And if you're going to get off it, well, haere rā. You'll find a crew that's strong enough to endure and persevere with him while he is still, rowing his waka. Rowing that waka all the way to Patia, and back.
Funny.
Around, like Parinini, Waitotara, the whole lot. He just takes you right around the manga and then back again and just keeps on going. And it's like, boss, time out. No. Then you go, yeah, take a break. And then like 1 day, 2 days. But then I sort of I'm like, told my boss, like, I bugged him in the weekend because I didn't hear from him for two days. It was the longest I have not.
You're like, what's going on here? What's going on here?
And he was in Wānanga. How beautiful. He found time to go home.
So this all 100% would add to that memoir at the end of the day, right?
Oh, the memoir, right?
Oh yeah, the memoir.
I love how you call it a memoir. Like, that is so beautiful. I feel like, like geisha. Not geisha,
did I make that up myself?
You did, memoir.
The memoirs of a geisha.
Yeah, you're fabulous. The memoir.
This is called The Memoir of a Governance Guru. Let's call it that.
Me? No, that would be you. I'm totally not that. You are. You're like amazing. You know what? Okay. This is quite cute. I've never.
So tell us about it.
Oh, about the memoir?
How are you?
No, I've never been into it before. So not like this ever.
It's called The Bridge, right?
Yes.
Why? Why The Bridge?
It's called The Bridge. So, just for a bit of context, for the MMIO, we all had to submit a proposal about what we might want to base our PACE projects on, or, embark on this and, leadership kaupapa. So I decided to write a brief on The Bridge. It didn't actually get a very good mark, but that's okay. It wasn't about a mark for me. It was just about opening up a conversation, I guess, or just, invoking some thoughts, I guess, provoking, or I don't know. I just like to write like this. So, how we all have a style. I know it might not be academic, but some days we can be academic aces, and sometimes we can be unapologetically Māori and tūturu and just be real, and I wanted to just be real and see if it got a grade. And it did, it still passed, so I'm happy, we're all good with that. But it was, it's called The Bridge. And the reason why I called it The Bridge is because I was trying to just be random, I didn't want to be generic, because we had a generic kaupapa that we had to all follow, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I work in radio, we're creative, we just want to have fun. Yeah, ACES. So I was like, nah, I want to get in there and do something totally random.
We're going to just we want to make it a bit harder for us as well. Like the generic kaupapa would be sweet. We could easily write to that, but no. I'm just going to go a little bit to the right of where I'm supposed to be going.
Yep, that's what I did. And I probably shouldn't have. I would have got a better grade, But then it wouldn't have been as fulfilling. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, could have got a better grade, yay. Like, you know, if I followed the construct. And that's what we're supposed to do, to be fair. That's why we're there, is to follow that and learn it. And we should. Just tick the box, girl, and just do it, you know, and then it's done. But I thought, nah, get one shot at this. Nah, I want to do it, you know, and I thought, that just wouldn't be me. Like if I mean, I have for other assignments, I've had to, because I had to pick the grades back up. So, yeah, okay, we can prove that we can do that stuff too. And let's just do that. sis. So we've done that. But this one particular one, I just went right outside the square. And I called this project, this brief, this sort of like a blog, I guess. I called it The Bridge. I didn't have any references though. And sis,
you're the
got
reference.
no APA referencing, you're going to get a stink mark, right? So yeah, I did. But it was okay. So the bridge, I suppose I called it this is what I wrote about it, integrating hierarchical leadership models of the past with modern ideologies of leadership models to inform and inspire future leaders. And the reason why, so that's not very academic, right? But that's pretty much what I called how you have a little description? So it's called The Bridge. And people are like, the bridge, eh? What are you up to on the bridge? I'm like, that's it. Straight away it provokes. Like you could think anything, just as long as you can visualize a bridge. And so, I don't know. Do you want me to read it or?
Yes, I do.
Part of it?
Because you've never told me about that description, and straight away I can see why you're on the bridge. Okay, just from you reading that description. So now of course, oh no, carry on. Yeah,
you're beautiful. Thank you. Oh well, okay. So the bridge. Again, this was based on integrating hierarchical leadership models of the past with modern ideologies of leadership models to inform and inspire future and emerging leaders. And so I'll just read a little excerpt of it because it's a bit long, so I'll just read a little, some parts of it. So this initiative includes a strong drive for further research, obviously. Needs further research. And one of the simplest and purest examples of leadership, which is to lead by example and to show up, which is ironic because I didn't show up to a couple of wānanga. Here we are now. One of the most important factors in terms of leadership modelling is the ability to navigate through the many trials that come with firstly taking the responsibility of stepping into a leadership role and feeling as though you have been fed to the lions. Does that resonate? You may already have a very strong set of core values, but they will amount to nothing if you are not strong enough to deal with people who have an absolutely different worldview to yours. When you are nominated and then voted by your iwi to be a voice, by the majority of your iwi, to be a voice for a vast majority of your tribal collective who 100% believe in you, but then you meet your demise and are faced with a collective group of leaders, so to speak, who are on a totally different journey to yours. It can be both scary and liberating all at once. The important thing to remember is that a lot of your tribal collective believe in you and are relying on you. They have already made a decision in their minds and hearts that you are important to their well-being and that no matter what, you will have their best interests and the best interests of the tribe at heart. They are depending upon you to do the right thing for them and for the tribe as a whole. You may feel as though the weight of the world is upon your shoulders at times. You may also feel as if you are walking in a space that is totally unfamiliar, foreign, and somewhat ugly to you, because it may actually not even feel Māori or very iwi at all. That is because you are now caught between the Māori worldview and the hierarchical leadership models that you thought only existed in the non-Māori world. Welcome to the bridge. So that's the bridge. And the bridge. So there are many taniwha who reside under the bridge. There are your tupuna who you know have got your back no matter what. There are also other taniwha. Some are no good. You are on the bridge. On one side of the bridge is your beloved marae and all of the people who mean everything to you. Your children, your siblings, your dearly treasured family members and cousins. What you will notice very quickly as you step onto the bridge is that your most dearly treasured and loved whānau members are not following you to the bridge. They are staying on the marae with hope, with aspirations, with optimism, with sadness, with joy, with faith, with dignity, with pride. They have sent you off onto the bridge to check out what is on the other side of the bridge and to report back to them. They love you. Always remember that even though they left you to walk that bridge alone, they have your back, even if they don't show it often. They truly love you. So you walk with absolute caution on that bridge. The pace is arduous and heavy. You know in your heart that you don't like being on the bridge because you would rather stay firm on the marae and feed the kids and watch them play bull rush in the hope that they learn that the stones on the driveway are amazing. Fun games waiting to happen. Why don't these 21st century kids like knucklebones? Who knows? There is probably an app that they can play knucklebones with on their devices, which to them is far more fun than actually engaging with their cousins and having competitions all day long between the bell ringing for kai times. Back to the bridge. You're still on that bridge. It is the span, the overpass, so to speak, between the pā and the dreaded boardroom. At this point, everything you ever learned at school, at Sunday school, at college, at wānanga, at polytechnic, at university comes down to crossing that bridge. Well, so you thought. The anticipation is stifling and the formality of it all is overwhelming and almost unbearable. There are lots of people with you on the bridge, and some are helpful, whilst others are like you, clueless to what is waiting for you, but seemingly experienced and qualified authorities on everything boardroomy and claimy. You will know the difference between those who genuinely have your best interests at heart and those who are keen to watch you fall flat on your face for no apparent reason at all. Be brave. Yeah, I think that will do.
That was awesome. So I'm going to read the whole thing in my own leisure at some stage. But, oh, man, so much of that. I resonate with so much of that. But what got me, and I can see that I could feel those moments too. Like, so know exactly what's happening here. I totally know what you're talking about. But what got me right in the beginning was the description, sis, when you talked about that hierarchical leadership models that we're pulling into the modern day age, and where, you know, can you talk to that a little bit more? See if I'm on the right thought pattern with
You're always on the
right
right
there.
path,
That got
sis.
me straight away.
Like, the thing about it is that I don't proclaim to be right. You know, and I'm not saying I'm right. And I'm not saying that my worldview is the truth. It's my truth. This is,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. This is my truth. And so when I speak about integrating hierarchical leadership models of the past with modern ideologies of leadership models, it's sort of merging the two and actually truly researching and understanding and developing a deeper understanding about, you know, our tupuna and how they, you know, how they rolled really and how they were. Our tupuna were amazing. Our tupuna were, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even be here. So, you know, their story, their trauma and their experiences and everything that they endured for us to exist, there's a story in that. And we all, and it's becoming quite you know, topical around Aotearoa, yes, but also in our own homes and in our families and on our marae and taranaki, which I think is hugely important, sis. And then, so we're looking at that. If we look at that and how our tupuna, their hierarchical systems, you know, I mean, with their legacy seats and their, you know, their council that sat around the fire, the Koniahi Kōrero moments where, you know, the chiefs were there, or the rangatira, and whoever was, you know, the tohunga, having their kōrero to tell the iwi and the uri and everybody and the hapu what their roles will be for the day, and, you know, so that they could get on with life as they were back then. You know, I think about that and, oh, wonder how they, you know, because did the chief speak and then everyone listened and that was it? I'm not sure about that, because they had advisors. They had tohunga around them as well. And you know, they had matakite as well. So they had it all. And so I think to myself, wow, now we've got these ideologies about leadership, but is it Māori or is it who? I don't know. And that's the part that excites me, because I get that through legislation, you know, all these regulations, all this, and oh my goodness, you know, I mean, I know myself as a PA trustee too, and you know, sis, being PA trustee, board trustee, and there are quite a lot of significant differences as well. Compliance things and tick boxes, like we've got to shut the PA gates and the doors, and because of certain reasons, you know, regulations. The whānau just want to go back to the PA, and I get that, but you always get the few that are going to wreck it, you know. Can we trust that you all, you know, because again, it comes back again to the upbringing. Did everyone grow up at the PA? Does everyone know about the tikanga of the marae? And there's so much to consider in terms of leadership models and where appropriate leadership models for different settings, I guess. And so that's what this, the MMIL program actually allows us to delve and to actually explore and consider, really consider, you know, how hierarchical leadership systems were set up, because that's what my project's based on, really. Hierarchical leadership models, and then comparing them to how we're rolling now, and maybe going back, really. Me hoki atu kātika, ki rao ngā kōrero a ngā mātua, and hopefully finding some sort of māramatanga there to bring back here, like to now, for the future generations and emerging leaders. Because I know for a fact succession would have always been a part of their plan. And what I noticed this in a lot of boardrooms, whether iwi governance boardrooms or just even the council, they're all old.
Yeah.
Te noinga e tau iwi. You know, e hara ina kōrero ina kupu ngā kupu waka hāwea. Engari, ke kōrero pono e nei, me waka pono au. I don't see them training up others. You know, where's the junior council? Because they used to have it back in the days where high school students and the heads, like head students or prefects from each kura, became the student council. I remember I was in that when I was at school, and now I don't see them coming in and sitting there and observing or taking the seats and making the councillors sit on the outside and watch them. I don't see that anymore, and I worry about succession, and hence why I'm passionate about the Māori governance paper that I just feel you would be passionate about. Like, I feel like it's you know, as well.
Well, I think that you touch on, that's probably the most important point, is the succession, you know, and you have obviously been part of a succession plan, whether you like it or not. And the biggest thing about that succession, I think we have to nurture those who are in that succession plan, because the people who come through that succession plan, they still got to be able to give at the end of, you know, receiving all of that information. There's just so many aspects to this And governance is a part of us whether we like it or not, you know. We look after our own homes. Like you say, we govern at the pa, or, you know, we look after the pa. We're kaitiaki in the taiao, we're kaitiaki everywhere. So we have to get used to that. But yeah, when you talk about succession, I do see the need for us to be very thoughtful about how we bring those people through. And you talk about that. You talk about that on the bridge too. You know, sometimes you just know these people there who are waiting. They're just waiting to see you fall over. Those are the sorts of things that that we need to really be real about and check our colonization on our own colonized ways of doing things. Because, you know, our tupuna were so amazing that they actually wouldn't have wasted time putting people into positions that they knew that's not even their jam. Like, why are we going to waste their time or our time? We're going to grow these people within the skill set that they are going to be amazing at. But we're in a time where there's all of us who are trying to do a million different things, you know, to uphold kaupapa, and it brings on pūhaihai, that's for sure. And then it brings on burnout too, you know, people getting tired, getting burnt out. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going off track here, but I think when you talk about succession, we definitely need succession, but we need to be able to nurture those ones who are coming through. Oh my gosh, man, this could go for another hour actually. So yeah, I want to read the whole lot of that, because so many of those points that you cover in that kōrero, I mean, I can just see it, you know, out at tarata, the people's on the road, watching the kids playing. And then when you said knuckle bones, you talked about knuckle bones. 2 months ago, I took my daughter and a couple of her mates up to the arcade in New Plymouth. They won, you know, they won tickets to buy a prize. And I'm like, oh, get the elastics, you know, and they're like, huh? The what? You know, and I managed to get them to get the elastics, but we never got time to actually play it. Now, I just don't think they will. They probably won't play that game because nobody knows now how to play knuckle bones or how to play elastics, you know. So we're already changing the way we bring our kids through things. I don't know if it's the best way, you know, like, should my daughter be learning how to play elastics off of YouTube? Like, what are we leaving behind and what are we taking with us? So yeah, yes. Whoa, man. That was a lot to think about, Tamzyn. A lot to think about. And I can't wait to read the rest of it, actually. And yeah, emotional listening to that stuff, because many people who will be listening to it, whether they see it the same way as you, I truly believe this, everybody who is in these governance positions would have felt like that, no matter where they were, no matter how much they were loving it, how long they'd been in it, no matter whether they are the rangatira, you know, or where they sit, everybody would have felt those exact feelings. So when you say it's not about it being the truth, there's elements of the truth in that for everybody. I can, you know, it's your story, but it'll be a story that everyone will listen to and be like, oh, dang, girl, yeah, I get that. Yes, I felt those feelings too. So where does it go from here?
Could be quite scary though, like when you go into those spaces. But then I think one of the greatest lessons that I learned is that you really do have to humble yourself big time in those spaces as well. But I think you have to be so strong that you will never, ever compromise on the values and tikanga that you were brought up with, and you shouldn't, because in doing that, you forget them. And if you start to forget them and you feel like, you know, you're just falling back and back and back, maybe it's time to just stop. Let's have a break.
Yeah.
So I'm in timeout at the moment because I needed to have a break. Not because of that reason, that alone. Also, I had certain goals that there are milestones within goals, etc., all of that, and the strategic plans, etc. However, there was a particular purpose that I needed to do. And it was a promise actually to my uncle, yours and my uncle, Puna Whakarongo, who his kupu ōhaki, and I've never shared this, but his kupu ōhaki to me was to lead that claim and to get it to that particular point. And that's without a word of a lie, that's hand on heart. So for anyone who's wondering, why did I do that, especially when I would be the first with my tino rangatira flag flying very high saying no deal. And I wanted to do the Pāngia Newton hard on everyone. Don't you worry, whānau. I was thinking about it every single step of the way. However, when you're tasked with a particular, again, responsibility, and you know that all you really want is to have a normal, happy life and freedom, you think, okay, fulfill that, and then you might get a little bit of a break. And so that's what happened. And so my break is doing my masters, and Te Reo Te Uru News, and just a bit of time out. And hopefully, it's because everyone wants to do purposeful stuff in life, and you sort of, everyone's like, you're doing too much. It's like, why do you think that? I feel like you're not doing enough. Like, I feel like you're lazy. Like, if you think I'm doing too much, I'm thinking, well, you're not up to much. So, ki kaha, ki maia. I don't feel burned out at all. I feel inspired each and every day. I open my eyes and grateful. I'm like, whoa, what a mean day. Like, even if it's raining. Yeah, I'm grumpy. I'm human. And I can get cranky and annoyed and peed off airs with, my household or the whānau, but they know I love them and it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
And, work things, whatever. But I think if we can all support each other and be genuinely happy for one another, for whatever space. Oh, I'm happy if the lazy ones want to keep being lazy. Cool. If that's your jam, hey sis, if that's your jam, well, mean. But while you're doing that, can you just be positive for all of us that want to keep being grinders? Because, man, we got one life. We got one shot. And we're not getting younger. We're getting older now. And if we truly are trying to lead by example, then be the example. I want son to know, because he's like, man, Mum, I've been home for a week and can we just, you're just doing this and that or whatever. But it's actually, when you're in a space, you just fully commit. Like this Koniahi Kōrero, I'm in this fully, 100%. I'm not looking at my phone, I got to do this. It's like, hang on, no, that can park. I'm in this with Te Aorangi right now and sharing and opening up. And yeah, I think one last thing I could share that might be of relevance to everyone is about vulnerability, and learning to be vulnerable, because I've never ever been vulnerable, to be honest. People think I'm gullible, and I probably am, all good, and a bit naive. Yep, totally, very gullible. Can't say no, I get it, but vulnerable to the point of breaking down walls and really, again, it's about really humbling yourself. So I thought we're all, to a certain degree, very humble people. Well, apparently, until I discovered, well, actually, it's humble. You need to humble yourself when you stuffed up and you actually need help. You have to really humble yourself to say that. Like, oh my God, I didn't get a perfect grade. Damn, help me. Like, ACES. So vulnerability. I have learned through the MMIL program that it's okay to be vulnerable. And if anything, when you start to be vulnerable, or I'm not telling you all just go out there and be vulnerable, not at all. I'm saying when you unlock that part of you that is so closed, you actually find that such a deeper authenticity, where you truly, when you say those words, unapologetically Māori, unapologetically maru, or unapologetically yourselves, that will truly be authentic. If you have the ability, or you allow yourself to be vulnerable and to truly humble yourself. It's quite liberating. I didn't know that. I used to think no. And one of the courses we had at Wangaihu, I was very vulnerable. We had Dame Tariana Turia there as our guest speaker sis. And I think I went to the brink of vulnerability at that wānanga particularly. And I never went back after that because of that reason. I didn't want to be, I was like, hey, no, I didn't sign up for this. Because I think I broke. I broke at that wānanga and I was like, nah, no way, no deal. I didn't say it out loud. I felt it. And when I drove away from Wangaihu, I thought, I'm not going back to no more wānanga. I'm too busy for that. You know what I mean? I loved it. Don't get me wrong. And I'm grateful with all my heart to our wāna of the river, the Manaakitanga, just top shop, and Auntie Tari, beautiful course, and Papa Che, everyone involved. But it was about knowing, man, I can't do that. You know, I can't cry. I can't be vulnerable. I've got to do this for the kids, for the mokopuna, for the, you know, even if they don't see it, they don't care. Right now, today in 2021, they don't care. When I'm dead and gone,
yeah,
it'll matter. So I thought, no, I can't be vulnerable. It's wasting my time. You know what I mean? Because I've got to do this. You know what I mean, sis. Like you said something epic before about time and about what we're doing and all that. And I resonate with it all. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm taking way too much time. I'm, again, very grateful for this opportunity to share space with you, Te Aorangi. You are one of the most inspiring people. Everyone doesn't see what you do behind the scenes. And I feel like, you know, serendipity, when you're in the right place with the right people, the right time. You came into our lives at Te Korimako or Taranaki at a time where we needed you. And your contribution to the world is huge. And everyone that has spoken on Koniahi Kōrero has a very special place in our hearts. But more so that you've given them that space, sis, to be able to share their taonga with the world and for our, you know, and for our future generations as well. E taonga tuku I hoi nei kōrero katoa. So, yeah, e mihi nei ka koe e te tuakana e Te Aorangi. Koutou katoa wānau.
Tēnā koe, Tams. I don't really know how to follow on from that, to be honest. Engari, e mihi ana ki koutou katoa e whakapaukaha ana mō ngā kaupapa puta noa I te rohe. He ua, tēnei mahi e tihiwa, te kawe kaupapa ki te motu I e tihiwa. But I guess the beauty of it all is that Tamzyn and I are not the only two people in the whole wide world. I mean, we're like one little weeny blip in the whole scheme of life. And the kōrero that we had tonight was really to inspire or motivate people who have spoken to us in the past about our study journey, actually, and said that they've enjoyed listening to it. And so we thought, okay, well, let's get into that a little bit more and talk a little bit more about it. But this is exactly where it takes you. This is the truth of the study at that level, I guess, and not necessarily a place where I ever thought I would be going. And I don't know, well, the ability was there for Tamzyn most definitely. But, you know, when you're thinking about all of the kaupapa that you're involved in, like, where does it sit? Where do you find that time to really concentrate on that level of mahi? So, you're nearly there. You're nearly there, sis. A couple more weeks or what? How long have you got?
Thank you, Te Aorangi. It's actually probably another 8 months. So the first half.
So your first year.
This is our first year. So it's an 18-month course. So it's either, I think it's 18 months. So we've still got another half of a course to go. So probably another 8 months or so until the completion. So we've done 2 papers. And we've got 2 more to go. And all of them, so we're about to enter our PACE projects now. And I must say, I have this amazing support around me. Dylan Wahu,
Yes.
Brendan Ray, and also Josephine Marino, Joe Marino, and our girl Kylie
Okay.
from Te Aorangi Moana. So they deserve for me to speak about it if I'm talking about MMIL, because they are the reason why I didn't give up. So I was going to actually sort of be real about it all, because I'm like you, Te Aorangi, and many of you that will hopefully watch this in the future. When you do something, you commit 100. We don't do half pie. And I felt like I was being half pie. And Papa Che Wilson he lives in our hearts. He is, words can't describe how much I love him and how much we love him and respect him deeply. And he deserves my 100. And I was being half pie because of my own, again, it's just about humbling myself and getting over myself, really. And I learnt that the hard way. When I left Whangaihu and I didn't go back to the next one after that, it's not because I didn't want to. It was because I was afraid. I was scared that I would keep losing myself. And I want to make that very clear to Whānau. It wasn't because I was arrogant or couldn't be bothered or felt like everything else mattered more. It wasn't that. I did not want to not hurt. I didn't want to break anymore because I was too busy. That is the truth. But, you know, if you ever have an opportunity to do this course, any of you that are watching, it is empowering beyond measure. And I know that what I've been through in terms of not falling off the waka, my heart stayed on that waka, 100, and my wairua fully. But physically, I didn't want to cry, you know what I mean? Like, it's a physical thing. It was an insecurity in myself, so I didn't show up. But I was still doing my readings, you know. I'm a geek after all, sis, you know. But I just physically didn't go because I didn't want to be, you know, just around people that were encouraging me to be vulnerable. It's like, don't make me do that, like, you know. So I just wanted to hide, you know what I mean, like just hide in my space. And now I'm speaking so openly about it because I know that was a part of my journey. I know I was meant to do that, even though it's terrible. And I've, you know, my academic transcript is now tainted, but it was meant to, because now when I look at it, I'll know that was that part of my journey that I went through. So there's no more A+, it's just tainted. That's what it's got, like these in it and these. Well, not a D, but, you know, just wrecked my anyway. I realized that's, again, was me being not arrogant, kind of borderline arrogant, but, you know, humbling myself to say, girl, that's when you humbled yourself. You know, yes, it was a poor effort, but you have to apologize for that and then move on. And then, yeah, so that's sort of pretty much where I'm at. One more thing, and I know I said that 10 minutes ago, but because this might come out just in context on that bridge when I spoke about others on it, etc. The other thing I learned, like I did an MMIL course over this period of this first half, people that have come onto the boards, they were meant to be there. You know, they may not have been, you know, had the same worldview as me or grew up at tarata like me and with the old people of Ngāti Maru who I thought should be there, you know, the ones that grew up at the pā. But the ones who were there, they were meant to be on their bridge. And there are many people who contributed to it. And I know it for a fact because they come from different lines of Maru Wakapapa. And we are all direct descendants of Maru Waranui, our eponymous tupuna. And I can't help but feel that they were there for a reason. But I know they were. And I think that's the same in every iwi, in every hapu. Even though it's people that are voting, some people call them paper members because they're only on paper, but they aren't just on paper. They are there because they have the same blood and veins of our tupuna. So to diminish that, and I learnt this being a board member for many, many years, to diminish that is actually wrong on my part or anyone's part who says that about another who got voted in. Even though I don't like the process about voting in, because anyone can vote. You can vote. I can vote now on my couch and just click a button now. They're even making it so easy to vote. Sending you a code and a pin, you just put it in, boom. No one knows who voted for who. But they'll tūpuna do. And how they landed there, it's not for us to question, really. It is what it is. So, I don't know. That's just the whakaaro that I had recently. So, yeah, ngā mihi to everybody who goes into that space. Yeah. And, you know, it's like anything in life, so some go in with bad intentions. We all know who they are. We all know that. It's just the way of it is. Some just go in there with bad intentions, but they soon find their way either by force out, or the people get rid of them eventually, or the border's strong enough to identify it. You never know. It's quite an amazing adventure for everybody.
That's sort of what, you know, when you're talking about the vulnerability and all of that, and, you know, you can recognize within yourself very quickly why you're doing something, you know, and I think that's exactly what happens in regards to, you know, if people go on with different intent and the wrong reasons, where you might have picked it up as an individual, soon enough the pack picks it up, I guess. Yeah, the pack will pick it up. Oh my gosh, so many things we could go on. Like I said, this could go on for a whole other hour, e te whānau. But thank you, ngā mihi nui sis, ngā mihi nui mo te whaiwā ki te noho tahi ai ki ahau, o tira ki te marea e Whakarongo mai ana, e mātakitaki mai ana i tēnei o ngā pāpāho mataora me ki. Lots of things to think about there, e te whānau. One, if you're thinking about going on a journey study-wise, go on it. Definitely take that up, because really the one thing you do have to commit to it is time. You know, commit your time to it. And once you work out how much time you can commit to it, stick with that. Don't go filling it up with anything else. Just stick with that. But definitely, you know, one way to expand the mind is through education. Like you said earlier in the show, life is a lifelong learning experience. Nā reira, kei te mihi au ki koe, o tira ki tō whānau hoki, e tautoko ana i a koe, me o mai. Yes, you do have your study mates, but you've got a strong whānau crew who back you as well. Nā reira, kei te mihi ki koutou katoa e te whānau koutou rā, ko whakarongo mai nei ki tēnei o ngā ui ki wainganui a mau ko Tamzyn, ko te tūmanako he pai ngā mai kei mua i te aroaro mō koutou katoa. Ana me noho haumaru tonu, me noho moho au ki ngā kāinga putano o Taranaki o tira ki koutou o kirikiri roa, te takiwa o kirikiri roa, kei te mihi atu ki koutou hoki o Tāmaki Makaurau, taking it for the team of 5 million, koenei ngā mihi matakuikui ki koutou. Katoa, nā reira i te whānau, hei konei, hei kona, tūra.